This is the AL391 Beretta Techness. We've already stripped it down. We're getting ready to take out the recoil spring and replace it. We have the gel pad installed on this stock. So take a flathead screwdriver on the clip on the bottom, pry it open. It's a little tough at times, but you'll eventually get it out. Just lift it all the way up, it'll pop right off. So you'll need a flathead screwdriver, a small screwdriver, a 13mm wrench, an 8-inch extension. I also used a 13mm open and closed end wrench, crescent wrench. You also need a couple 8mm blowtorch and a couple 8mm by 1 jam nuts. So the first thing to do is remove the nut. It's at the bottom, but pay close attention to the markings on the plate that's inside there. It has indications for how the stock is set up relative to the receiver. It's a nylock nut. It's a little tough to get going at first, but it'll eventually come on off for you. There we go, there's a nylock nut. Set it aside. Take a look at the plate on the inside and find out the markings on it. Make sure you match it up when you reinstall it correctly. There's markings on the top and bottom and on the back side, reverse side as well. It's all related to how this stock is adjusted to fit the shooter. So lock washer in there. There it is, set it aside, don't lose it. And there's the Beretta recoil reduction system. It just slides in and slides out. Nothing's holding it in place. Set that aside, slip the stock off the recoil spring subassembly. There's a little washer there as well. It's plastic. It has markings on it as well that match the plate that you just took out of the stock. So there's the recoil spring cap. It's the most difficult thing to remove in this whole assembly. The spring inside the recoil tube will spring out on you. There's a hole in the end. We'll be placing a screwdriver in the end to hold it in place. The heat from the blowtorch will modify the spring, the recoil spring that's in there, but you're going to replace it anyways. So here it is right here. This is what happens to the end of the spring. It's supposed to look like that, but at the end where I heated it up, it collapsed on itself. But you're going to throw that out anyways because it's been used and abused. So stick that screwdriver in the hole that's provided there before you start heating it up. And you take the blowtorch and heat it up. I'm not going to do it on this one since I've already installed the brand new spring. First we're going to put on the jam nuts. I'm going to put 2 nuts on here. They're 8mm by 1 nuts. We're going to lock them together after we get these nuts on here. Threads are a little bit messed up on the cap due to the nylock nut that was originally on there. We get both of them on there. We'll lock it on tight, and we'll use those jam nuts to remove the cap, the recoil spring cap. Right after we heat it up and melt off the Loctite that's in there. So in this case I'm not heating it up, I just pop off the, I've already done that step, and I'm already pop off the cap here. The spring's not going to jump out at me, and I've held it in place with the little screwdriver. But you're going to want to slowly take out that screwdriver, take out the spring, take out the plunger that's in there. I'll show you the plunger in a minute. It's inside, it's part of the recoil system. And you're going to want to clean that tube out really well with your gun cleaners. I got the spring at J&P online, jp.com. There's the plunger. That'll be cleaned off as well. You need to clean that off, get everything nice and pristine. Put the plunger in first, then put your new spring in. It's a little bit hard to do, but use the screwdriver to help hold it in place as you get a better grip. And then I went ahead and put the spring cap back on without any Loctite. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's needed. You decide what you want to do. But I put that back on there. I used to tighten up a little bit with the jam nuts, and then I'll take the jam nuts off. And that's pretty much it. You know, assembly is just the reverse of disassembly. Don't forget to put the washer, the plastic washer on the right orientation on the end of the stock. Slip it on onto the receiver over the recoil spring subassembly. Now it's a little tricky getting this big plate in. Make sure you orient it properly again, noting which way it came off. I end up using my fingers and balancing it yes, don't forget the recoil reduction system. I should have already put that in there by now, but I forgot. I did take it back apart. But anyways, that was my second time trying to put that big plate on there, and you just balance it on there with your fingertip and eventually slip it over. Unless you have really long fingers, it's hard to get down in there. Then I slipped the lock washer over that small screwdriver, and I balanced it on the end of the stud, the recoil cap stud, and just let it slide on over the stud. Once it's on there, we'll go ahead and put the Nylock washer inside my socket, and then carefully balance the socket and the nut right over the stud, and turn it back on, torque it back up. That's pretty much it.